Welcome to this YouTube channel. Today we are going to discuss a portion from a topic from developmental biology, that is gametogenesis, in continuation with our earlier video lesson on spermatogenesis. Friends, you may be knowing that gametogenesis is of two types. One is called the spermatogenesis, wherein male sperms are produced, and the second process is called oogenesis, where in female the eggs are produced, ova are produced. Let us get started. Okay, oogenesis. What are the contents? Introduction, structure of ovary and the development of follicles, oogenesis, structure of ovum, and certain hormonal control. We are going to see in this lesson of oogenesis. Oogenesis is a process of formation of ova or female gametes. Where does the oogenesis occur? Very easy. So in females there are gonads. The gonads are called ovaries, and the ovaries perform oogenesis. But you know very well that the ovary is having several histological components. Okay, there is tunica-albuginea, there is germinal epithelium, there is cortex, and there is medulla. Okay, as the germinal epithelial cells produce primordial cells, and wherefrom the ova continuously develop in the form of follicles. We are going to see. And when does oogenesis begin is an interesting question. In the earlier video lesson, what we have discussed was spermatogenesis that occurs at the onset of puberty only. But oogenesis doesn't initiate or begin at the time of puberty, but it already begins. It already began in embryonic stages of a female embryo. When the female is there as an embryo in its mother's womb, whenever the ovaries are developed in the embryo, within that time, within the ovaries, the oogenesis process will begin. And the oogenesis process will continue for some time and will be arrested at a particular point and remain calm until the embryo develops into an adult, the embryo born, and the adult grows up to the age of puberty. So several years of time will be taken for the formation of for the purpose of oogenesis. Spermatogenesis will be completed within 5 weeks, but for oogenesis several years of time is needed. Okay, now it will extend for many years. During the embryonic stages, the ovary of the embryo will have some cells. These are called primordial cells. How many primordial cells are there? More than 2 million cells are there. But all these 2 million cells, out of all these 2 million cells, most of the cells get degenerated. And at the time of puberty, if we see, only 60,000 to 80,000 primary follicles will remain. Okay, all other will be degenerated. And oogonia, those egg mother cells, what are actually formed during embryonic stages, are the oogonia forever. What I mean is, no new oogonia are formed after birth. After the birth of a female individual, no new oogonia are formed. Oogonia are formed already in the embryonic stages itself. That's very, very interesting to know. Now, in order to understand the oogenesis process, we must have some basic knowledge of ovary. So let us see the structure of ovary. There is a pair of ovaries situated in the lower and dorsal abdominal region on either side of the vertebral column or dorsal aorta. And each ovary is tied up to the dorsal abdominal wall by means of a mesentery that is called mesovarium. Mesovarium is a mesentery with which the ovary is tied up It is fixed onto the dorsal body wall. Okay. An ovary is consisting of several regions. You see, the outer layer is said to be the germinal epithelium, and later tunica albuginea protective layer. And then you see here various stages of follicles that are developing here. And this area where you will find the follicles is called cortical region, cortex. And the central region where you have blood vessels, lymph vessels and other structures, the central region is called medulla. Okay, let us see what are the structures that appear from outside to inside in the TS or LS of ovary. We see germinal epithelium, tunica albuginea, cortex and medulla. How are you going to identify the cortex? You will find lot of developing follicles. Okay, and these oogonia, the oogonia were formed during the embryonic stages in the form of primordial germ cells. 2 million of primordial germ cells are there, but most of them got degenerated. 60,000 to 80,000 primordial germ cells or oogonia, egg mother cells, are present in each ovary. Each ovary has 60,000 to 80,000 oogonia. How are these oogonia formed? They are formed by the infoldings of the germinal epithelium. Germinal epithelium. Let us see the structure of all these, how these are formed in the next slide. Okay. You see here the primordial germ cells. The primordial germ cells, okay, they acquire some flat cells, squamous cells let us call, to form a kind of follicle. Such follicles are called primordial follicles. The very beginning stage of oogenesis is the formation of primordial follicles. How are you going to recognize? Very easy. The oocyte, or what is that called, oogonia, the oogonia surrounded by flat cells are called primordial follicles. And then you will see certain change. The primordial follicles gradually develop into primary follicles. What is the difference between these two? Primordial follicles are surrounded by flattened cells. The flattened cells will become cuboidal and secretory in nature, so that when the cells are converted into cuboidal nature, then the follicle is now known as a primary follicle. Primordial follicle develops into primary follicle. You see here, this is a primordial follicle, and you see here, this is a primary follicle. Primary follicle. The difference is it is surrounded by cuboidal cells. Cuboidal cells. Okay, later the cuboidal cells divide further and further, forming several layers of cells. You will find 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. Several layers of cells are formed, and these several layers of cells is called granulosa cells, otherwise called striated epithelium cells or granulosa cells. Okay. Now what happens? Now these several layers of cells what are formed around the oogonia, okay, oogonia, and these are all called primary oocyte also. So some of the cells come close to the primary oocyte, and they are surrounding the primary oocyte. Such cells which are surrounding the primary oocyte are now known as membrana granulosa. Membrana granulosa are the cells that are surrounding the primary oocyte. Between the membrana granulosa and the primary oocyte, there is formed a special layer during the development that is called zona pellucida. Friends, let me tell you once again. Primordial germ cells, flattened, surrounded by flattened cells. Later primary follicles which are surrounded by cuboidal cells. The cuboidal cells multiply, forming many layers. Such layers are called granulosa cells. Some of the granulosa cells come close and form a layer around a oocyte that is called a membrana granulosa. Between the membrana granulosa and primary oocyte, a new structure develops that is called zona pellucida. Zona pellucida. And then above the zona pellucida, another layer is formed that is known as corona radiata. Corona radiata. Let us see from outside to inside. Okay. Granulosa cells, membranous granulosa, corona radiata, zona pellucida, and the egg membrane or the primary oocyte surrounding primary oocyte. Okay, this is the primary oocyte surrounded by certain layers. Okay, zona pellucida, corona radiata, membrana granulosa, and having several granulosa cells. Okay, so if you see, during the development, after this development at a particular stage, the cells, what are the granulosa cells, are further differentiated into two types. So they form a very hard layer called theca. The theca layers are two types. Outer theca is called external theca, the inner one is called internal theca. And some of the special cells here in these granulosa cells secrete the female sex hormone called estrogen. Whenever estrogen is secreted, a fluid-filled cavity is formed here. The fluid-filled cavity is called antrum. Okay, antrum. And whenever estrogen is secreted, the the primary oocyte, which has started its journey of formation of ovum during the embryonic development and started meiosis 1. That meiosis 1 was arrested at prophase 1 in the embryonic stage itself. Okay, and until the puberty, the embryonic primordial germ cells, otherwise called these primordial follicles or primary oocytes, let's call, they remain calm. But now, as the sex hormone called, female sex hormone called estrogen is secreted. By the secretion of estrogen, the primary oocyte now continues, or it will, starts its, the meiosis 1, that is prophase 1. Okay, the prophase 1 will be now started. The prophase 1 will be completed. As the prophase 1 is completed, the primary oocyte is now becoming secondary oocyte, and it also forms a very small cell called first polar body. We will see in the next slide all those things. So let me explain once again. The oocyte, primary oocyte, or the oogonia undertakes several mitoses. As a result of primary oocytes are formed. The primary oocyte just begins meiosis 1 in the embryonic stage, but the meiosis 1 is arrested at prophase 1, and it will remain calm until the puberty for several years, 15 years to 50 years, several years. Now, by the liberation of estrogen within the follicle, not estrogen outside, with estrogen within the follicle, the primary oocyte now, completes its first meiosis to form secondary oocyte and first polar body. Now you see here, this is known as secondary oocyte. How are you going to recognize secondary oocyte from primary oocyte? On the primary oocyte there is no polar body, but on the secondary oocyte there is one polar body. Whenever you see a polar body, we need to understand that this has undergone meiosis 1, completed meiosis 1. Okay, so that the first polar body is formed, and now this follicle grows larger and is projected out from the outer layer of ovary, and this is called the secondary follicle. As these all these developmental stages of follicles was explained by, these stages were explained by a scientist by name Regnier de Graaf. Hence, the secondary follicle is named after that scientist. This is called a Graafian follicle. Okay, A Graafian follicle is called secondary follicle, that is consisting of secondary oocyte. Secondary oocyte is formed from primary oocyte by meiosis 1. Primary oocyte is diploid in state. Secondary oocyte is in haploid in state. The secondary oocyte is associated with a small cell called first polar body. The secondary oocyte, along with the secondary follicle with the fluid-filled cavity called antrum, is now developing several granulosa cells around the secondary oocyte, and this is called cumulus oophorus. Around the secondary oocyte, now granulosa cells are further going to form corpus luteum. So that is called cumulus oophorus. Friends, let me come once again from first stage to this stage. Primordial germ cell, flattened cells, primary follicle, cuboidal cells, granulosa cells, membrana granulosa, and now it is called cumulus oophorus, and also discuss proligerus. Now the secondary oocyte grows larger and larger, okay, and is projected from the surface layer of the ovary. Whenever a hormone by name LH is secreted on the 14th day of menstrual cycle, this secondary follicle or Graafian follicle ruptures to release ovum. What is this ovum? Nothing but secondary oocyte. It has just completed meiosis 1, but another meiosis is pending. Okay, so what is ovum? Ovum is nothing but secondary oocyte. Secondary oocyte is liberated into the coelom of mother, coelomic cavity of mother, by a process called ovulation. Okay, after the ovum is liberated, what happens to the empty follicle here? The empty follicle develops yellowish tissue that is going to perform as a temporary endocrine gland to secrete progesterone, and this is called corpus luteum. Corpus luteum goes on secreting progesterone and maintains the uterus lining for accommodating this ovum if it is fertilized. If the ovum is fertilized, corpus luteum will be there for 3 months. If ovum is not fertilized, corpus luteum gets degenerated and remains as a small white patch called corpus albicans. So friends, what we have learned? We have learned how the secondary oocyte is formed. Okay, this is oogenesis, and this secondary oocyte will undertake the second meiosis after the entry of sperm. When it gets fertilized, then only the oogenesis will be completed. Okay, oogenesis is now up to the release of secondary oocyte only. If oogenesis is to be completed and the secondary oocyte is to become ooted or mature gamete, female gamete, fertilization is necessary. Okay, let's see that. Let's see the entire process of oogenesis. Oogenesis has 3 steps. One is called multiplication stage. Okay, some small mistakes. The second one is called growth phase, and the third one is called maturation phase. Multiplication, let me correct it. Multiplication phase, okay. Multiplication phase, growth phase, and maturation phase. Let us see. Oogonia, that are there in the embryonic stage we are speaking about. This phase occurs in the embryonic stage. Oogonia undergo mitosis. Several mitoses occur. As a result of that, you see, primary oocytes are formed. Primary oocytes. Okay, additional oogonia are developed as in the case of spermatogenesis. These primary oocytes undergo growth phase by consuming other cells. So they'll increase in size. Okay, growth phase. How many primary oocytes are there? 60,000 to 80,000. And it will go for the next phase called maturation phase. During this phase, it will undertake what is that called meiosis. But the meiosis will never be complete, not be completed, I'm sorry. meiosis will not be completed in the embryonic stages. And meiosis is arrested at prophase 1 of meiosis 1. Okay, and it will remain calm, and the further the embryonic development goes, and the embryo becomes adult, and adult infant, and infant gets parturition subjected to delivery, and the baby grows up to the age of puberty. Then what happens? Then the secondary oocyte is formed. What is secondary oocyte? The secondary oocyte is nothing but primary oocyte that has completed meiosis 1. If meiosis 1 is completed, one cell becomes two cells. But meiosis 1 here is an unequal maturation division. Because it is an unequal maturation division, a large cell that is called secondary oocyte and a smaller cell that is called first polar body are resulted. Okay. The secondary oocyte will be liberated into the coelom of mother. That is called ovulation. That's called ovulation. Now, after ovulation, the secondary oocyte, if it has to complete its maturation phase, it needs fertilization. It needs the entry of sperm. So let us consider sperm entered, fertilization occurred. Then, because the sperm is having a proximal centriole, as I mentioned, so then what happens? The oocyte, secondary oocyte, immediately completes what is that called meiosis 2. As a result of that, one smaller polar body and larger ooted or mature ovum is formed. By this time, first polar body also divides to form two further polar bodies. So, after the fertilization, if you see a matured ovum, it is associated with three polar bodies. Okay, whenever you find an ovum with one polar body, what you have to think that it is unfertilized ovum. Whenever you observe an ovum, okay, a structure, an ovum with three polar bodies on its surface, then you have to feel that this ovum has undergone fertilization, and this is now what is that? Nuclear fusion. This is male pronucleus, this is female pronucleus, half of the nuclei. So both will mix up with one another by a process called amphimixis. As a result of that, zygote is formed. Okay friends, it is very interesting to note that for completing the oogenesis in females, it will take some years of time. Okay, some years it will take. And one of the very important thing is oogenesis will be completed only fertilization occurs. Otherwise, oogenesis will be aborted at the stage called secondary oocyte. These are very interesting facts to know about. Okay, and you just observe this is the ovum with one polar body. What does that mean? This is called secondary oocyte only. When there is one polar body, this is secondary oocyte only. It has not undergone fertilization. Sperm has not entered. Okay. On 14th day of menstrual cycle, ovulation occurs. And egg is very long, 30 times bigger than what is that called? The size of the sperm. You can observe the egg with your naked eye because it is having some millimeters. Okay. And this is now waiting for the entry of a sperm. Okay. To get mature ovum, to become a mature ovum. Now you see the same egg. But how many polar bodies are there? The polar bodies are 3. Okay, 3 polar bodies are there. This is first polar body, of course, that divided into 2, and this is the actually second polar body. So that is formed later. So total 1, 2, 3 polar bodies are there. If when 3 polar bodies are there, we have to call this as ovum or ooted or mature ovum. Entry of the sperm restarts the cell cycle. Otherwise, cell cycle will not be continued. Okay, so abruptly ends at secondary oocyte only. Okay, then it breaks down the metaphase promoting factor, because when secondary oocyte is there, the secondary oocyte has started the meiosis 2, but meiosis 2 will not be completed and is arrested at metaphase, because this secondary oocyte doesn't have certain factors. What are the factors are not there? Metaphase promoting factor is not there. That's why metaphase is stopped there itself. So when metaphase promoting factor is there, and it will continue the metaphase and goes to the anaphase. And when anaphase promoting complex is activated, then anaphase will also be completed, so that a mature ovum is developed, is formed. Okay, completion of meiosis makes the secondary oocyte to form the ootid, and the polar body further divides to form two polar bodies, and amphimixis occurs. That is the mixture of, what is that called, mixing of male pronucleus and female pronucleus occurs. With that, a zygote is formed and the oogenesis is completed. Genesis, role of hormones. Luteinizing hormone secreted from the pituitary stimulates the ovulation and forms the corpus luteum. Follicle stimulating hormone is a very, very important one. Follicle stimulating hormone is secreted by pituitary and it will allow the follicles to develop. Estrogen secreted within the follicle, okay, so makes, what is that called, completes the meiosis 1 to form the secondary oocyte, and the estrogen, which is also liberated outside in the blood, will mature the ovary and it will develop the female secondary sexual characters, and it will develop the mammary glands, etc. And progesterone is secreted by the corpus luteum that will maintain the uterus. So what are the female sex hormones here? Luteinizing hormone, of course, this is called ICSH, interstitial cell stimulating hormone in males, FSH, okay, and the third one is estrogen, and next progesterone is secreted by corpus luteum. Let us compare the spermatogenesis versus oogenesis. Some interesting facts are there. When does spermatogenesis commence? You see, at puberty only. In the case of males, spermatogenesis completes at puberty only. No development during the embryonic stages. But in the case of female oogenesis, the oogenesis begins at early embryogenesis, where the oocytes are arrested in the meiosis 1, prophase 1, until ovulation, or until what is that called, puberty. Then how much time does it take to complete spermatogenesis and oogenesis? Let us compare. Okay, maximum 60 to 65 days sperms will be matured and produced. But in the case of female, if one ovum is to be formed, it will take 10 years minimum, 50 years maximum. How many cell divisions occur? In the case of spermatogenesis, 300 to 500 cell divisions occur. Mitosis, here only 20 to 30 mitosis occur. How many gametes are produced from one mother cell? In the case of spermatogenesis, 4 sperms are formed from spermatogonia, but only one ovum is formed from one oogonium, and 3 polar bodies are formed. Then gamete production per cycle. How many gametes are actually liberated? 100 to 200 millions. Here only 1 per 1 menstrual cycle. 1 for 28 days. Here 200 millions per each ejaculation. So more number of sperms are produced when compared to the number of the ovum. These are certain interesting facts. Thank you, friends. Hope you have understood the gametogenesis, which is completed in 2 parts. In the first part we have discussed spermatogenesis, and in the second part we have discussed oogenesis. Thank you. Thank you for watching.